All right, welcome to another episode of the Xevi Had a Problem podcast. Shout out to all of you guys for joining us along this journey. Shout out to all of you guys for the kind comments y'all constantly leave in the videos. Shout out to my sister Menda, my sister/producer Menda, for joining us in this journey. We're on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube. YouTube has a video version of the podcast. Spotify has a video version as well. All that being said, let's jump straight to it. You know what I saw this past weekend? I saw Sinners. If you have not heard of Sinners, boy, you must be under a rock like Patrick and them. You good? What's going on? You must be under a rock like Patrick and them. Sinners is fantastic. It's a movie by Ryan Coogler. Now, this ain't no promotion. This ain't no brand deal, nothing. The movie's just that good.
It's iconic.
It's fantastic. It's fantastic. Y'all have to check it out. Them folks was, I don't want to spoil the movie, but them folks was dancing in that mud, and them folks was cutting a rug. And heel toe, moving. If you can't see my face, I'm doing a stank face if you're not watching the video version. But, you know, we got to talk about the problems, right? We got to talk about the problems. And Ryan Coogler, the director of Sinners, had a problem. So news publications all over start speaking about how well the movie did, because the movie did fantastic. Sold like 60 mil its first week. Medic, you double check that. I believe it's 60 million. So 60 million its first week. And, you know, news publications come out and say, look, Ryan Coogler sold 60 million his first week. But can he keep it up? That's basically the vibe that news articles were saying. Let's get into a little more specifics. It was the New York Times, I believe. What the New York Times say, man? What was their exact quote?
So their exact quote was, Sinners is a box office success with a big asterisk. With a big
asterisk, saying, but hold on. Well, hold on now. Variety had a quote as well. They said, look, matter of fact, let's get the exact quote for them too.
So they said, quote, on Twitter, Sinners has amassed 61 million in its global debut. It's a great result for an original R-rated horror film, yet the Warner Brothers release has a $90 million price tag before global marketing expenses, so profitability remains a ways away.
Basically saying, okay, they got 60 mil in the box office, but I mean, they didn't make that much profit. Yeah, it costs a lot to make the movie, blah, 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 blah. Hollywood producers and actors start coming out saying, excuse me, look, this is a bunch of, Ben Stiller specifically said, look, I ain't never seen no box office hit earn a title like that. Matter of fact, let's put some respect on Ben Stiller's name. What was his exact quote? What did Ben Stiller say exactly to the news articles? What was his response?
So he had specifically responded to that Variety tweet that I just read and said, in what universe does a $60 million opening for an original studio movie warrant this headline? Right.
He's saying, like, look, dude, you could have just kept it cute. Said that. But I've been hanging out with you too much. I said kept it cute. He said he could have just kept it. I'm gonna keep it on. They
kept it T.
You know, they could have just kept it T, and they could have just said sticks. That boy made 60 mil. Period. Because matter of fact, people start coming out and saying, excuse me, Variety. Variety comes out and said, look, y'all tripping. All right, we a news article, we a news company. That's how they said, look, there's a movie called Once Upon a Time in Hollywood by director Quentin Tarantino, made around the same 60 mil in the box office. And all y'all said was, Once Upon a Time is a box office hit. Variety said, we said that? They said, I said, yeah, y'all said that. Variety said, okay, look. They published a new article. They said Sinners is hot. That movie hot. But if you keep scrolling down in that article, they basically say what they said in that first article. Basically,
they actually went into detail.
Boy, they went into detail. They said, y'all not finna tell us what to do. They made a new title saying, Sinners is hot. Like y'all saying, Sinners is hot.
They said 5 reasons why Sinners is a smash hit.
5 reasons why Sinners is a smash hit. They said, look, Ben Stiller, look, we changed the title. Look, we got a new title for you. It's a smash hit. But you go a little deeper. Then they say, but like we said in the first article, you know, who knows if they're going to keep making that cash.
They pulled out actual calculators.
They pulled out actual stats. technically this, that, and the third. They start talking about, well, they made 60 million, which is pretty good, I guess.
For production,
but
if
you have
200 million,
90 million, you calculate for this.
Like, shut up,
I'm not saying
Poindexter.
they didn't make, you know what I'm saying? So they start pulling all these numbers when they can't just say, look, they made $60 million. That's pretty dang good. They also mentioned something else kind of interesting. A true statement, actually. They say, we'll see what happens during the second week, because the second week usually gets boosted by word of mouth. So everybody watches the movie during the first week, and if the movie is super, super good, then all those people from the first week are going to say, look, everybody, you're not wasting your time. The movie's super good. You got to check it out. And that's when that's what carries the second week numbers. You feel what I'm saying? So Variety basically alludes to basically saying, like, if the movie is really good, like everybody thinks it is, then they finna go crazy in the second week. Right. And the crazy part about this to me is Ben Stiller's statement, this being an original film. Because the thing is, Ryan Coogler wrote and directed this thing.
A horror movie at that.
Oh, that's as original as it gets. Right. So let's get into the story a little bit. Ryan Coogler goes over to all these studios, Warner Brothers, Sony, and them. I don't know if he went to Sony, but that sounds like a studio, right?
Aren't they a music? Whatever.
I think they do something with like movies and stuff like. No, they do. They had Spider-Man in there, right? They had Spider-Man. Yeah. So
I choose not to acknowledge that.
So they're a movie studio and all that. Was that the Spider-Man with Tom Holland? Sony?
No, that's Marvel.
Oh, you see what I'm saying?
They're the ones with the Madam Web and these lame
movies yeah.
Right
Okay. So yeah, they're the ones with movies that wasn't like too crazy. So who knows if Ryan Coogler went to them? Regardless, the whole point is Ryan Coogler goes to a bunch of studios. He tells them, look, y'all gotta check out this script I got. They said, man, boy, let's see that script. They check it out. They say, damn, that boy fire. Ryan Coogler said, I know it. By the way, I went to a bunch of other studios and everybody said it's fire. So who finna give me the best deal type? So the movie was so good, Ryan Coogler basically gets to set his deal. And Ryan Coogler also has the credence to do so, right? I don't know if I'm using that word right. Man, look up what credence means. So Ryan Coogler did the movie Creed. Ryan Coogler did Black Panther. He has some smash box office hits, right? So he has the reputation, right? He could do that.
You did.
Credence? Okay, so he has the credence. He could do that. So
wait, sorry. God, I got an LAUC education. I don't think you're right.
Oh, what does credence mean?
Okay. So credence can refer to acceptance, belief, or something that supports a claim.
Something that supports
a claim. It's often used
hits.
in the sense of giving credence to something, meaning accepting it as true or believing it.
Oh, maybe I can't say then Ryan Coogler had credence. But we're gonna say it anyway because
Woo, God.
So Ryan Coogler's past movies gave him credence by boy.
I think that's right.
That makes sense.
Well, these degrees are useless.
I'm gonna stutter it all up. So they basically said, look, Ryan Coogler, he has the reputation for good movies, so we're going to give him a good deal. Plus, the next script is good. We know it's going to be a box office smash. So Ryan Coogler gets a crazy deal, right? He basically gets ownership of his movie in 25 years. That's huge for directors. Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, he got the same thing. Now, why I mention all this is to highlight the fact that people were also curious as to why he got this deal as well. In fact, Ryan Coogler's in an interview. And Ryan Coogler got his Oakland accent. Oakland accent.
Very West Side.
Yeah, very West Side. So for those of you that don't know, Oakland is a place in California, and they have a specific way of speaking.
Bay Area.
Yeah, if you're not from the United States, California is a state in the United States. So he is doing an interview, and the interviewer is asking him, why do you think, listen closely, why do you think people question the fact that you got this crazy deal? Not why do you think you got this crazy deal? Why do you think people are wondering why you got it? And Ryan Coogler says, I think I have an answer. She goes, can you tell me the answer? He says, I probably shouldn't. I'll just keep that one to myself. For those of you that don't know, he's saying it's because I'm black. Hey, man, look.
Particularly, I think the way he presents himself is very
that's
authentic.
the biggest part. That's the biggest part. It's his, let's say, authenticity. It's him being unapologetically himself, unapologetically black. So Why I say that is because I guess it depends on how much you play the game. I can assume that Ryan Coogler is not getting this much flack in his headlines and this much. Why is Ryan Coogler getting that deal? If he acts a certain way, let's say, you feel what I'm saying? Like, it might not be all the way a black thing, but like, it could be like maybe you got to pull up like Chris Rock. You feel what I'm saying? Like, for those of you that don't know Chris Rock be man, what's the best way to put it? Chris Rock be
he be taking them taps without the closet a lot.
You know what? There you go. He be tapping it up. Let me just give you an example. Chris Rock, after Will Smith smacked him in the next week, he pulls up in a comedy special and he says, "Look, after Will Smith 5-finger palm me, I did not smack him back. Why? Because my parents taught me never to fight in front of white people." Ooh, and everybody claps. Everybody applauds. And Chris Rock drops the mic, walks away. He said, "I'm done." I thought Boy was about to say a joke afterwards, but he was dead serious. He was dead ass. He said, "My parents taught me never to fight in front of white people." And
That's crazy.
It's wild. Like, to be fair to Chris, he's from like a whole different era. And what he's trying to say specifically is, my parents taught me to not make black people as a whole look bad, which you can kind of get where he's coming from, right? But you know what I'm saying? I think folks nowadays, especially younger black Americans, are saying, "Boy, look, I'm gonna just be myself, and whoever like it, whoever don't. I'm gonna talk the way I talk. I'm gonna do what I want to do." You know, Chris might be from an older, bygone era.
I think it was at a time where being respectable, quote unquote, was like a way to survive.
Yeah, you see how Will Smith be strutting around and all that, respect to Will.
Yeah, and there's definitely still some of that to this day. But I think, like you said, a lot of people are just kind of like, I'm just living myself. And listen, I got a couple white friends, and they likes to get down. Like,
what you mean?
Like, the whole quote about Chris Rock talking about, never fight in front of white folks. I feel like my white friends, if anything, they're like,
up in arms about it?
Yeah, they're like, "Oh, who are we fighting?"
Yeah,
I
should be more specific. I think it's young people in general. Not just like young black people. Young people in general are just like, be you, be yourself, and this and that, and do you. Type,
I think it's a generational thing.
Yeah, generational. But Ryan Coogler, young man, he's a younger gentleman, and he's doing his thing, and he's saying what he want when he want to say it, and it might rub some folks the wrong way. It might rub some news publications the wrong way, let's say, so he gets these things written about him. But regardless, the movie did well. First week, movie did well. Second week, smash hit. People love it. And I say all this because we got to talk about problems and all that. But, if y'all know anything about Xevi like to look at the bright side. And the bright side is, at the end of the day, the movie a smash hit.
It was good.
At the end of the day, the movie's good. It's a smash hit. He's finna retain ownership. And that's just it. We could talk about articles all day. We could talk about this, that, and the third, but he went up to the field and he proved to everybody, you know what I'm saying?
Do you think this is like an Oscar-worthy film?
I think so. Absolutely. But I don't really give too much stock to like Oscars and Grammys and stuff like that personally. That's fair. But if it has to be something, it would be an Oscar-worthy film. But I wouldn't be surprised if we have this whole conversation when the Oscars come. Sinners get snubbed. Sinners does not get chosen. Sinners gets nominated. Maybe even Sinners gets no nominations this year. The shocking Oscar snub. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I think to be fair with that though, is also award shows notoriously are not really a fan of horror films.
Of horror films in general.
Yeah, in general. Yeah. So that will just probably like another layer. But I feel like this movie it's so critically acclaimed.
It transcends that. Yeah, it transcends that horror genre for sure. And what about Get Out? Did Get Out get any like nominations and stuff? Because Get Out is technically a horror film, but Get Out was a culture shift moment. It was a big deal.
It won an Academy Award for writing.
Wasn't it? Is that an Oscar? What's an Academy Award?
There are two different award shows, but usually the sentiment for the Academy Awards that they're a little bit more like younger in the sense of like they would probably nominate a movie like Sinners, like a horror film. But
Oscars are like more old school
political. Yeah. Oh. They're very political and stuff like that. So
okay. It's
that's my interpretation.
It's kind of like the Grammys and like the VMAs or something like that?
No, because I would say Academy Awards is definitely
it's still like up there, like pristine and all that.
It's definitely still a T. Definitely, I wouldn't say it's a Nickelodeon award, but
okay.
It just has like I feel like a different choosing category.
Now you sneak this in the Slimy Awards or the Slime Awards, whatever it was called.
Anyways, like
Did I say not you? Man, I've been hanging around you way too. Not you saying not you.
girls. I'm teaching him our slang.
Oh Lord, man, y'all got to get up on this girl slang. If y'all not up on this girl slang, y'all tripping. Trust me, they be saying what needs to be said, you know. But regardless,
what slang do I say the most?
What slang do you say the most?
Yeah.
Okay, we can't get too. We got to get too suicide.
Fair.
Well, I don't know. I think it's just like a subconscious kind of thing.
You say girl a lot.
No, I don't. Do I?
You feel like girl to me.
I do. But you be saying bro. Like you be saying bro. Like you be saying tough as hell too. Like
that's
sometimes
true.
You be like you be saying, hey bro. Lord.
I feel like our parents like raised us as they.
Yeah, we was just like super. I was talking about. What'd you say?
Oh, I said that they accidentally raised us as like some they thems low key.
Yeah. We just like
we shared the same clothes. Like
yeah.
I mean, we were just really poor, but
that's true. We was broke. But like we was just raised to like sister, brother. We just saw each other as siblings growing up anyway. Regardless, speaking of doing you unapologetically, I do want to get into Sheduer Sanders a little bit. I do want to speak a little bit about Sheduer Sanders. For those of you that don't know, Sheduer Sanders is a football player, American football player, not the one where you kick the ball, right? And he's really good. So he just got drafted by the NFL, the National Football League. If all this sounds like gibberish to you, don't worry so much about it. Just know that Sheduer Sanders can play ball. Now, in this draft, there are a few rounds. A draft is where they choose which players they want to bring to the NFL, right? So in the first round of the draft, those are typically the best players. And then the second round, second best, and then so on and so forth, right? So Sheduer Sanders gets chosen at round 5. And this is when Sheduer Sanders had a problem. Sheduer Sanders is good. And I'm saying universally good, not just like my opinion good. It's like analysts, scouts, all that saying, yeah, he could play.
So for my girls and the girls, hopefully this analogy like helps, but it's basically like, how One Direction was formed on X Factor, which is a TV reality show run by Simon Cowell.
Yeah. Is that still going on? You know what? Don't even worry about it. I'm not trying to get too sidetracked. Go ahead.
Right. So all the One Direction members were chosen on X Factor. So this is like if Harry Styles was the last possible pick. They went through all the people audition, like Joe Schmo talking about, but they know damn well that Harry should be chosen.
Everybody's like, why isn't Harry chosen? Why isn't Harry chosen for the group? Why isn't he chosen to be on One Direction?
But they're looking through all Tom, Dick, and Harry.
That's a great
when
example.
They should be looking at the actual Harry.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to summarize the Sheduer Sanders situation. He's not a round 5 pick guaranteed. So people had questions for the NFL. They said NFL. NFL said, They said Sheduer Sanders round 5. The NFL said. Boy, them folks say nothing. They don't respond. So people get a little bit up in arms. They're saying, look, matter of fact, this is before Sheduer even got chosen. Not to confuse folks, but how the NFL draft works is they choose people on different days. Round 1 is a certain day, round 2, blah, 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 so on and so forth. So Sheduer not getting chosen for the first few days, people were instantly like, nah, something wrong. Donald Trump even jumps out and says a tweet, and he actually says it's actually hilarious. So I'm gonna bring that up. What Donald Trump say specifically about Sheduer? Lord, this man, you got away with words.
So Donald Trump's tweet, like on his own social media platform.
On his own?
Yeah, he has a social media platform called Truth.
Okay, interesting.
Which is basically Twitter.
Yeah, what am I say?
But he said, what is wrong with NFL owners? Are they stupid? Capital.
Oh, okay.
Deion Sanders was a great college football player.
Deion Sanders is Sheduer Sanders' dad.
Yes, and was even greater in the NFL. He's also a very good coach, streetwise, and smart. Therefore, Sheduer, his quarterback son has phenomenal genes
Okay.
and is all set for greatness. He should be picked immediately by a team that wants to win. Good luck, Sheduer.
Sheduer. Girl, yo, I ain't teach you about sports yet. What's going on?
And say hello to your wonderful father. You guys tell me about basketball.
Oh,
I grew up watching basketball.
To be fair, yeah, our family didn't like watch football like too much like that.
Yeah, I grew up watching basketball with all my brothers, but any other sport, y'all just run up and down the field at this point.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
I don't know nothing about nothing.
But yeah, fair enough. So fair enough to Donald Trump as well. The statement itself is hilarious how he be wording things, but he actually pretty much puts everyone's sentiments perfectly. Like, he's basically saying like NFL owners are wild for this because, fun fact, this is an NFL owner issue. Let's get into the story a little bit deeper. So Sheduer Sanders' dad, named Deion Sanders, and Deion Sanders, fantastic NFL player, widely considered to be the greatest cornerback of all time. Cornerback is his position. If you don't know what a cornerback is, they stop passes from being passed.
You're just making up words at this point.
Don't worry,
a quarterback.
Don't worry too much about the fluff and all that. Just know a cornerback stops people from getting the ball. He needed to run super fast and be super athletic, which he was. Yeah, so he was widely considered as well to be one of the greatest athletes in sports. Yeah, not just the NFL, in sports, because that boy played professional baseball as well. And he wasn't no scrub. He wasn't no Michael Jordan baseball player. Respectfully. Hey, I said respectfully, because for those of you that don't know, Michael Jordan played basketball very, very well. And he played baseball okay. Like, Michael Jordan was cool. Like, he could play baseball. But he wasn't no Deion Sanders in baseball. Deion Sanders played NFL at a high level, considered by many to be the greatest of all time in his position, and he played baseball at a high level. His team got to a World Series, which is like the playoffs, which is like going for a championship.
That's incredible.
Yeah, so, and he's considered to be a part of that team. Like, he was getting steals, like he was in there, like he helped them get there. He wasn't just sitting on the bench and all that, right? So he's an insane athlete, which is why Donald Trump says phenomenal genes in all caps, because people consider Deion to be a freak athlete. Now, Deion Sanders, Sheduer's father, was also very confident. He had a lot of bravado. We finna pop up some pictures. That boy was stunned.
Dripped
out to the nines. That boy had them cash earrings and all that. Man, we gotta pull up that picture. That boy had them money sign earrings. That boy was stunned.
Chains.
Yeah, chains, blinged out. So sports teams historically aren't huge fans of, let's just say, self-expression, for lack of a better term at this moment. It's like the NBA famously making players wear suits, like in the 2000s. They saying, boy, y'all can't just dress however you want to dress. Like, y'all got to wear these suits.
But then they started wearing clown suits.
Yeah, them suits was big.
No, you have to look up.
We're going to pull it up right now.
Everyone look up Carmelo Anthony suits.
Come on, he was stunned a
in
little
the 2000s. He was drowned. It looks like 3 people were inside a suit.
Well, we was wearing big clothes back in the day, though. How can you hate on bro? Xevi had a big shirt on back in the day. Stunned.
I can easily, bro, but see, Xevi was like hella skinny back
I was
then.
very thin.
So it's literally like a pole wearing a giant parachute.
A pole?
It was funny.
I was not skinny. Was I skinny? I was pretty skinny.
You were skinny.
But I was stunned. I was dripped out though. I was dripped out. Them skinny jeans, long shirts down to the knees. Stop playing. Sometimes you gotta wear the shorts down to make them look like jeans too. Y'all don't know nothing about our fashion. See,
thank God for that.
See, that's how I know she don't know about fashion, because back in the day it was drip.
I don't want to know. I don't. I mean, I'm the last person who should be talking, but.
What you mean? You come on, I'm just exaggerating a little bit.
No, I used to wear them Oxford shoes. Like,
you wore Oxford. Oh, you did. You was on that. That little emo type.
No, I was the anime kid running down the hallway.
Like Naruto and them with the hands in the back. Regardless, Deion Sanders had a little more style than us. Someone else who had a little more style is the man who broke through the NBA giant suit embargo. He crashes through Mr. AI, Mr. Allen Iverson himself. He basically comes into the NBA and he starts wearing whatever he wants. Boy had them cornrows in. Boy was a full-on walking fashion statement saying, I ain't wearing no suit. You feel what I'm saying? Boy was stunned.
He made... It wasn't just basketball, like his outfits. Like he just made clothes look cool.
Yeah, it was
for
like
my
swag,
generation.
just full on swag. Like
so it's like everybody wanted to like dress like him, be
like AI.
him. My dad put Allen Iverson braids in my head.
He did. As soon as AI was popping up, he
I was traumatized.
He put it on her. You know, he still couldn't put it on mine for real. But he oh,
you have to be bald because you're African.
Yeah, exactly. So he chose. So
they shaved his head.
So he said, man, I got next best thing. He said, let's put them cornrows on. You know, sister. Matter of fact, Dad got influenced by a lot of things. Remember when Michael Jordan had a hoop earring on? He looked at me. He said, boy, you got to get that hoop earring. Oh, man. But regardless, let's not get too far from the point. Look.
The point is that the influence that players can have is amazing.
It's huge. Now, some NFL owners, some sports team owners, not too big of a fan of that. NFL is very notorious for being very controlling, I would say, with their organization as a whole. NBA, they lost the battle, right? They said, we want you to wear suits. Allen Iverson broke the embargo, wearing whatever he wants, so everybody started wearing whatever they wanted, and then NBA is like, all right, whatever, wear whatever you want. NFL, on the other hand, they always got something to say. You know what I'm saying? But what Deion Sanders and Allen Iverson had in common is they were so good that they could do whatever they want. Like, you're not finna just tell Michael Jordan, hey, nah, you can't wear this and that. No, Michael Jordan wears what he wants. Deion wears what he wants. Allen Iverson wears what he wants. So you just got to live with it. Sheduer Sanders, on the other hand, maybe he can't do a certain thing or say a certain thing because he's not in the NFL just yet. Because the thing is, it's more than just clothes. It's full-on personality itself. Deion Sanders also very, very confident, brash, bravado, right? Sheduer Sanders, Deion Sanders' son, seems to take on a lot of that confidence in himself as well. So NFL owners seem to have never been fans of how Deion Sanders carried himself, but again, couldn't really say anything because the boy was balling out. But Sheduer Sanders, on the other hand, they can say something. They're saying, look, you got to tone down that confidence. And this is from NFL insiders, NFL teams, because they had to answer for their crimes. They had to tell the world, they had to tell people why Sheduer Sanders was down to 5th. And it's not an official statement, but this is just from like insiders and like team folks. They were basically saying, look, we didn't like how Sheduer carried himself, in a sense. We didn't like how it seemed like he was choosing the teams and the teams weren't choosing him. But here's where it starts to get wicked. Because the problem with that statement is it seems like NFL owners as a whole are one full organization. Listen closely. NFL teams are supposed to be separate and impartial. They're supposed to, at the end of the day, still be competing with each other. So if one team says, I don't like how Sheduer acts, I don't like how he acted in his interview, I don't like this and that, the other team under them should still theoretically be like, okay, I don't care what you say, Sheduer Sanders can play. I want him. But every single team, y'all feel what I'm saying? Every single team saying the same thing. We don't want him. And then for the next round, we don't want him. And then so on and so forth to round 5 is very suspicious. Because I'm telling you, Sheduer Sanders is good enough to at least get chosen in round 2. At least get chosen in round 3. You cannot deny that talent. So you must have colluded. NFL owners must have got together and said, look, nobody choose him. Come round 5. Then the embargo will be lifted and anybody could choose him. You feel what I'm saying? Because if they didn't do that, one team would have been like, oh, I don't care what anybody's saying. Bring him on my team. He's that good. So Cleveland Browns lucked out when that embargo got lifted, because I'll tell you right now, NFL teams still want him. They still want Sheduer Sanders. I'll tell you right now, coaches, assistant coaches, they don't care about all that.
They want hairstyles.
They want Harry Styles.
I want Zayn, but you know.
Hey, shout out Zayn, shout out Harry Styles. But they basically saying they saying like, okay, like Allen Iverson, yeah, he could say this and that. Dennis Rodman can go to Vegas a day before a playoff game and have colored hair, but I want Dennis Rodman to catch some rebounds. I want Allen Iverson to hoop. I want Sheduer Sanders to throw that ball. You were gonna say something, I think.
Oh, I was gonna say, Dennis Rodman wore a wedding dress and married himself.
Hey man, he married himself?
He did, 1996.
I thought he got married to. Oh, he got married to Madonna at one point, right? Or he was with Madonna.
I think they were together.
They were together, and then
he wore a full-on wedding dress, wig.
Hey, that's a beautiful statement.
Honestly,
Low-key,
but
right?
The world wasn't ready for that in 1996.
They weren't ready. Yeah, I think Dennis Rodman would have a smoother time in today's day and age because his hot takes from back then, coloring his hair and all that, that's not too crazy nowadays. Boy, they was up in arms when the folk colored his hair. They said, why is he not doing the bald African cut? What going on? Why he think he could just color his? I'm over here spinning all over myself, passionate. He think he could walk around coloring his hair. Them folks is freaking out. Like, boy, but you can imagine the 90s. Like, them old hair folks. Like, boy, a wedding dress in the 90s is kind of crazy. If you think about it, a dude wearing a wedding dress in the 90s, them folk.
And with the wig and makeup to match, he looked good.
He was stunned. He was doing his thing. You could barely do that nowadays, is what I'm saying. Like, there was a rapper who wore a wedding dress. He had a song called "Married to the Game." We finna pull that up. Boy was married to the game. Boy was stunned. He was hopping around the video, married to the game, full on wedding dress.
Is it ever that deep?
But you couldn't listen to the song for real, because boy was like. We got to get to an age where people can wear wedding dresses and you can pull up. But anyway, what were we talking about? We were talking about Dennis Rodman. Oh yeah, Dennis Rodman could wear a wedding dress and a team will still say, we want you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You could literally, Dennis Rodman's so good, you could have 20 teams say, okay, everybody, let's get together. Nobody choose Dennis Rodman. That 21st team for to say, psych, stupid, Dennis Rodman.
Nah. They're planning the wedding,
boy,
actually.
They planning facts. They finna choose him. So point being, the NFL must be a super locked in organization. Them owners must be super locked in. Like, everyone do this or else, So Sheduer Sanders playing for the Cleveland Browns. Shout out to him because he did get drafted at the end of the day. But, people were saying, look, that's still unfair. Because how bad could his interview have been, really? He would have to walk in, shirt off, dance on the table and I would still choose him. If I was an NFL team, I would still choose him. That's the boy could play. And people are saying, look, wasn't the NFL supposed to be all about who could play and who can't play? It don't matter how he acts outside. And note on that, when I say bravado, confidence, boy, I'm not saying he running around saying what he want, doing what he want. From what I've seen of the young man, he's still respectable. He's still saying his thing. Matter of fact, Deion, same way. Deion Sanders is wilding a little bit sometimes, but they're being themselves unapologetically. It can be seen from a different lens as confidence, right? Now, the NFL had a big problem with Deion Sanders. To go a little deeper in the story, they had a big problem with Deion Sanders saying, hey, if my son goes in a team that I don't really like, then I'm finna tell him, nah, don't choose that team. They got really heated. Can you tell me exactly what he said, man? Pull up that quote. They got really heated. Basically, NFL teams, again, they're big on control. So they're saying, oh, you thinking you finna just sit here and tell us where your son's gonna go? No, we're gonna tell you where he's gonna go.
Deion Sanders' quote was basically, there's certain cities that ain't gonna happen. It's gonna be in Eli. And what he meant by Eli was basically Eli Manning and his brother Peyton Manning are legendary players, and basically Eli was a top pick. He didn't want to go to a certain team, so he didn't.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so they were able to kind of pull strings because of the weight of their name.
So Deion Sanders
trying to do the same thing.
Okay, he said pulling Eli, right? I'll do that to myself. Okay, so they're saying, okay, no Eli for you, Sanders. They say you're not pulling the Sanders, basically. And apparently the NFL owners got heated. And Deion Sanders already brash, bravado, confident, and now he's trying to dictate. Nah, that's basically in their mind. But it kind of reminds me. Of the Ball brothers. No pun intended. But the Ball brothers are three basketball players, and very good players. They have a father named LeVar Ball. Shout out LeVar Ball. Very confident, very brash, got bravado. And before his sons played in the NBA, they were all over the internet, like these three brothers are the next best thing. And this internet campaign was spearheaded by the father, by LeVar Ball. He coming out saying, my son's finna dominate the NBA. He's saying crazy stuff like, I could have beat Michael Jordan one-on-one, this, that, and the third. People saying LeVar is insane. He's on talk shows all over the place. And people were wondering if that was going to affect LeVar's sons, the Ball brothers, their stock in the NBA draft. Because people are wondering if that confidence, that bravado, that wildness, if his sons were going to be similar and they were going to be uncomfortable, this, that, and the third. At the end of the day, the talent spoke for itself. Lonzo Ball was selected first round draft pick. LaMelo Ball selected third. LiAngelo Ball is the other brother. He wasn't selected for the draft. He could still hoop. He wasn't selected, but he do got a hit song though. He do got a.
Is he a rapper?
Yeah, he's a rapper. He made a hit song.
In that corner.
Whoa. Yeah, and yeah. And if you catch him in a rec game, you know that boy finna hoop on you. But regardless, at the end of the day, point is the talent spoke for itself. In NFL, I guess they're saying something different. They're saying we don't care about the talent. We don't care about this, that, and the third. We care about
kissing the ring.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to put it. Kissing the ring, you know, being feeling like you want us versus the other way around. So, you know, that's what rubbed people the wrong way when it came to the NFL teams doing that all together. But like I was saying again, Sheduer, on the other hand, Sheduer Sanders, the young man, seemed like a stand-up young dude. Like confidence is what maybe that's how he played a game. Maybe he needed his own confidence to play the game. If it doesn't affect his game, then honestly, in my opinion, that should not affect where he is picked. And I've seen on the internet people saying wild things, saying, oh, you know, maybe he should humble himself. Maybe he should this, that, and the third. Well, how about you humble yourself? Stop playing these games. Leave that young man alone. He's a young kid. If you want to be confident, if you want to say what he want, let him say what he want. All right. He's still gonna ball out. At the end of the day, he's still finna ball out. He's not gonna make your organization look insane. Like, you know, you're fine. Look, he seems like a nice young dude. He just seems very confident. There's a clip circulating around the internet where Sheduer Sanders is saying, do you know who my dad is? But people don't like to play the full clip. He says that because the interview asks him, hey, what do you think about people like underselling you, like, you know, downplaying you? He says, do you know who my dad is? My dad was a fantastic player and he was undersold and downplayed his whole career. And I feel similar to my father in that. So the answer to your question is yes.
That was a different direction.
Completely different direction. People like to harp on that. I'm telling you, this clip is circulating. Do you know who my dad is? You know,
and do you know who my dad is?
Yeah, even if he said that, even if he said it like that, do you know who my paps is? Do you know who my pappy is? Like what?
Girl,
like boy, I can still hoop though. I can still play ball. You know what I'm saying? Who cares if he said? Even if he wanted to say that, if he said that but couldn't throw the football, that's one thing. But man, you can say whatever you want.
If my mom was Beyonce, like, you would be disgusted by my behavior.
No,
I'm so that ass.
You just like, name drop that for everything.
Quickly, fast.
You in the lunch line. Do you know who my mom is? Like they better give you that lunch ASAP. I don't care where.
That's facts though.
That's facts. Surfs is wild, but that's facts though. If Beyonce was my mom, I might name drop a few times.
I think you can be proud of your parents.
Yeah, like, why not? Why not? Be confident. Be proud of your parents. Sometimes you going out to dinner and, you know, they don't have a table. Do you know who my mom is? You know, my dad. If he gets you the table, Come on, bro. Stop acting like you wouldn't use that to your advantage.
Use your advantage as you can. But I do think that confidence can sometimes read as arrogance to the insecure.
True. That's pretty deep. That's a deep quote. To the insecure. That's interesting. I think it's respectfully though. Respectfully, like it's not. Yeah. If you're a hit dog, if that affects you and you're hot at that statement, then the hit dogs holler, right? All right, you're wild for that one, but it is true. Like people can see it as arrogance, but it might be a you thing. Look, man. The kid thinks he could play football, and that's because he can't play football. And there it is. At the end of the day, he's on a football team. He finna play, and the best thing he could do is prove everybody wrong. Because at the end of the day, even if all of those teams got together and they decided amongst themselves, this is what we finna do, we finna humble him. At the end of the day, if he's an all-star, if he could play, then those teams might have a little bit of regret.
Like, what did y'all gain from
this? You feel what I'm saying?
Because
the Cleveland Browns at the end of the day is saying, we stand with you, other NFL teams, we with you. But they're the ones that got him. And if he becomes that guy, then what? You know what I'm saying? Then if you're the other team, if you're the other team owner, you might say, damn, maybe I should have just crossed that picket line.
Your
maybe
ego
is snuck in there.
Your ego's protected, but at what cost?
Yeah, but what cost? What cost? Because I'm projecting like a few years later, when this is said and done, and everybody forgets about all of this, and if he wins like 5 Super Bowls, like 5 years later, then they're gonna be like, oh damn, we passed on him, didn't we? You know what I'm saying? Like, we really had a chance to do that. Oh man. Regardless, this, that, and the third.
I think people can also be humble, and who's to say he's humble or not? But I don't think it's up to somebody to humble somebody. That makes sense.
Dang. You coming in with a deep quotes today? Wow.
I had my tea today.
Yeah, don't let these people think you're smart. That's that's gonna be a crazy twist. That's gonna be... Now you locked in though.
Relax.
That's facts though. You locked in. Yeah. That's
Anyways.
Wait. Say that again.
If I say something back, I'm the bad guy. Then it's, oh man, you gotta censor yourself.
Hey, you gotta chill. Oh, but what you said though? Say that again, actually, because that was facts.
I forgot.
There she go.
Let me think. Give me a chance. Hold on. Damn, that's crazy. What were we talking about?
We were talking about Dion. We were talking about Sheduer. You see, I might be a little too. I said, you were saying that like humble. They can't humble you, like in a sense.
Oh, right. Yeah. I do think, I'm not gonna say whether it's important or unimportant for someone to be humble. I do think people can be humble, and who knows? Like maybe he actually is humble, but it's
you
not
can't just like. Just guess his personality based on
yeah, but it's not your job to humble somebody.
Yeah,
I think if they're not, then
they're just not humble. That's just what it is, right? You can't just like force them to be humble by saying taught you a lesson. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I see what you're saying. I totally agree.
Yeah, that's up to the person and their journey. Like maybe there's a reason they're acting that way that you don't know about.
Yeah,
but at the end of the day, like let them reach that as they may.
Yeah.
But it's not your job to force them into that.
Facts. I totally agree. But regardless, anyway, we'll end the podcast there, man. We'll end the podcast there. Shout out to the folks that stuck around.
Shout out to the girls.
To the end. Yeah, shout out to the girls. Hey, look, if you don't know, and not just the girls, but anybody who don't know anything about football.
Shout out to the ignorant.
Yeah, if
like me. I'm part of that.
Yeah, to be fair, I'm not crazy on game with the NFL. Like they were saying, the Cleveland Browns is a bad team. They were saying, I don't know, but I'm not too up on game with football. But shout out to the folks that listen through. Shout out to the folks that listen through anyway.
Wait, but like, if there was a gorilla fight with 100 humans, where would you be in that 100 humans?
Okay, we was just about to end the video, so this is very, very random throw in. But where would I be? Like where if I'm in the 100 humans, like
are you in the 1st battalion?
Okay, so the 100 humans versus one silverback gorilla debate, right? So am I first of all, you already know I'm not in the 1st battalion. You don't even got to ask that question. I'm like Chris Tucker and them from Rush Hour when he said, I ain't taking a bullet for the president. Stop playing with me. They're not look.
Yeah, listen, but they don't know that.
They don't know. No, listen. First of all, you said 1st battalion, 2nd battalion, 3rd battalion, 4th battalion. 5th. You're not even gonna have to count it because Xevi not there. Xevi not in no battalion. He's in the way back. I'm over there dictating. I'm gonna feel a little bad. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna feel a little bad that all them folks running in, but I'm gonna say you go left, you go right. You know what I'm saying?
From the group chat.
From the group chat, way in the back. Stop playing with me. Ain't no man. The silverback gorilla. I still think 100 humans could win at the end of the day. That's the side. I still think 100 humans.
Do you guys know what a silverback gorilla is like?
What? Yeah, they be boxing, but it's 100 humans.
Boxing.
But.
They gonna split you in half like a fraction.
They have
on God.
They have stamina though. They have stamina. They gonna get tired like at the end of the day.
And then what?
What you mean? Then it's gonna get tired, and the humans are gonna win.
If a gorilla is tired, by the time it regains its strength, and your little human fingers have clawed at its hide,
it's not gonna regain its strength because by the time like it's about to regain its strength, we're already gonna win. It's gonna be
you've clawed through the hide with your little soft fingernails.
Yeah, what you mean? Like humans are stronger than you think. Like even if you start throwing hands with the gorilla, like I don't want to imagine people like throwing hands at a poor gorilla, but like
does the gorilla have a choice in any of this?
That's what I'm saying. Like low key, but. I still think the 100 humans is, at the end of the day, it's just the sheer numbers. I think 50 humans could do it personally. I think that stamina is going to be a massive factor. After that first 25 people get wiped out, again, not Xevi because Xevi in the back. After them folk get wiped out, and the gorilla's tired, them folks is going to jump in.
A gorilla is 9 times stronger than the trained human male.
Right.
I'm gonna assume,
and they as fast as Usain Bolt in them too.
Yeah, but they can lift and throw objects up to 1,800 pounds,
and they're moving like really fast. They're going to truck people. I'm not doubting that.
And
I'm not downplaying that gorilla skill and their bite strength. Yes, they are going to truck people. It's going, but you got
they're punching a hole in your chest,
dude. Humans are not just like they're not just going to stand there. They're going to make plans. They're going to try to figure it out, and they're going to like.
I just
100. That's a lot. Look, okay, this debate could go on forever because look. That's the whole.
I just don't. I don't have faith in humanity like that.
Dang, if we're being like real humanity, then like people like sitting there planning it, humans are gonna lose to themselves. Like
one,
you know, again, Xevi not going in. You know what I'm saying? Because look, the second they say, okay, we're planning this, we're planning that. Xevi, you're gonna go left. I'm gonna say, why is Xevi going left? You feel what I'm saying? Like, and they gonna get hot. They're gonna be like, nah, because you're the only one. Nah. Is it because I'm black? You know what I'm saying? We gotta. Stop it. I'm going to use anything. I'm not getting in there with that gorilla. I ain't throwing hands with no gorilla.
No, I feel it.
Yeah, and then one person might say, yes, it is because you're black. And then we have a whole argument, you know what I'm saying? And then there's a whole fight amongst the humans. There might be a war against race, that, you know? So I don't have faith in humans like that. Like, we're going to find anything to tear each other down. Meanwhile, gorilla is going to sit back and start picking us off one by one.
Eating a banana. I think it would, as soon as the gorilla takes out 18% of the population, I'm joining a side.
You gonna switch
I'm literally
up?
going
you
to
gonna opt out?
Basically turn around and start boxing humans. I gotta survive.
And he just gonna look at you and be like, okay, she got my back. We good. Like, you think it's like an anime or something like that. He's gonna look at you and be like, we good.
He must understand.
I'm not even I'm gonna be in the back. 99 people could go. 99 people could get wiped out. They're not gonna end the match because they're gonna be like, well, there's still one human left. Where is he? Where is he at? Y'all not finna find me. I'm in the back, low key. I'm gonna make it out. I'm gonna feel bad. I'm gonna have flashbacks, low key, for the rest of my life. Anytime I eat a banana, I'm gonna shake, but I'm gonna make it out. I ain't boxing no silverback. Stop playing with me. But on the really real, appreciate it. If y'all stuck through that whole rant too.
Actually, nonsense and babbling.
Absolute nonsense. Then shout out to y'all as well. And we're gonna see y'all next week. We're gonna see y'all next week. Love.
Shout out to y'all.